Hello, beautiful people. It's Sindafam. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're back again with another video. Still on the Blake Lively and the Justin Baldoni situation. We're going to be checking this video. I saw a couple of videos on TikTok talking about crews coming forward or talking or sharing their thoughts regarding what happened behind the scenes. And I also saw an article that shared that. And we're going to be checking this. And I also love your thoughts in the comments below.
It ends with us sources are starting to come forward. Publicist on here, publicist creator Jamie Jocelyn King, who I will tag, said that some sources from on the set are coming forward to give her the scoop. Listen to this. It was during COVID, they were shutting down production, and Justin Baldoni was giving a heartfelt speech about how they have to give justice to the fans and how they have to just make this film happen and how important it was. And the source said that Blake Lively and Jenny Slate just stood back there and kind of was like, they weren't buying it. And the vibe was the cool girls versus like the theater dorks, basically. The people who stand for something and whose work is meaningful versus the rich people who don't care about COVID and people losing out on jobs and making this film happen and artistic integrity. Side note, the PR stories coming out about how calm Blake is, and then date night selfie pictures with Ryan and Blake, how calm and cool they are. Then TMZ reports a few hours later that Blake's calling Justin's lawsuit a sideshow or whatever it was. I mean, come on. Leslie Sloan is putting out those stories. She's Blake's publicist. And I'm telling you, I worked with Leslie before. When I worked with her, she was a nutball. Ran around screaming, and everyone was like, oh God, Leslie's here. So I can only imagine what is happening now. What do you think? Are more people going to come out and speak? Keep the sources rolling. That's all I have to say.
I have a source from the set, evidence with us. This is a reputable source. I have confirmed the source. This source was on set for the filming of the party scene and they wished to remain anonymous. Said when they filmed that scene afterwards, Justin gave a speech to the entire cast and crew and it was very heartfelt. And the source said that almost everyone was super into it except for Blake seemed to be rolling her eyes and so did Jenny along with her. Said that Justin's speech was about the fans and about the importance of the topic at hand and about the book and doing it justice for the fans. She said it felt like the cool kids table versus the nerdy theater kids table and the kind of vibes, the disconnect between the two parties. She said that she was previously a really big fan of Jenny and that she just had this negative energy about her, and what Justin was saying seemed to be so heartfelt and truthful and wholesome. And she assumed the tension was just because of the upcoming the writer's strike and what was going on set about were they going to keep filming, were they going to stop filming, etc. So it was all up in the air and they weren't sure if things were about to get shut down. And they thought, oh, maybe that's why they're being bitchy about his speech, is because, oh, they're about to get shut down. This source also said that Blake just kind of felt like not secure in her postpartum body on set, which in my opinion, as a woman who's had 3 children, might have led to her need to control everything, the shots and what was being filmed, to make sure that she looked the way that she wanted to look. Or why she felt she was being fat shamed, because she probably felt internally not her best, as we've seen through some of the text. So this is a reputable source. I hope more cast members, if you're a cast member or if you were an extra, you're safe with me, you're totally anonymous. If you were around or on set, please reach out. I'm happy to share your story anonymously. Everything that I post here is totally anonymous. And yeah, the judge denied the gag order. So looks like everything will be going to trial as of now in March of next year.
If you think the Justin Baldoni Blake Lively drama is juicy now, you just wait, because this is spot on. While everybody on the cast rallied around Blake, we have still not heard from anyone on the crew. They have been radio silent. And why is that? Well, I'll tell you, I have spent my entire career in magazines and in production, and I can tell you that the crew knows everything. The crew are the people who are running the sound and the lights. They are the people arranging for location permits. They are the script runners who take the script from the director, type out all the new changes and print it out and give it to all the cast members. They are the people that are arranging drivers for, people to get home. They are the people that are in the editing bay, and it's everybody who is on the ground making a movie or a show happen. And it's really hard for those people to not know what was going on, because when you are running a movie, a production, you are on a deadline, and every little thing, every change that happens has a domino effect to everything else that is scheduled to happen. And so you better bet the crew knew about all the drama that was happening. Maybe not at the beginning, but they certainly found out quick enough, and it permeated the set 100%. And the fact that we have not heard from anybody, nobody has slipped to say, oh, he was terrible, Justin was terrible. The fact that we haven't heard that, to me, indicates that they support Justin, and we will hear from them in court next year. And if I'm a betting woman, here's what I think we're going to hear. We're going to hear from the wardrobe team, who are going to say that they worked a better part of a year on creating visual concepts, storyboards, calling in clothing from brands and designers. only to be sidelined when Blake came in and wanted to put all of her friends' brands like Gigi Hadid's brand or Christian Louboutin in the movie. For those of you who don't know Gigi Hadid's brand, it's a cashmere sweater brand, and the sweaters start, I think, on the low end at like $450. And the Christian Louboutin knee-high sparkly boots that Blake wore in the movie, which were her own, retail for close to $6,000. I mean, I don't know a florist who's rocking $6,000 boots on a Friday night, but who knows? We're also probably going to hear them talk about how on fitting days, they would have to wheel huge clothing racks into vans so that they could drive them to Blake's penthouse apartment for fittings, where she would then just pull stuff from her own closet and choose those for the movie. And let me tell you something, that is such a heavy lift for a crew to do. That is like such a waste of time and effort. And we will hear how they went over budget, over wardrobe budget from like $185,000 to almost $650,000, almost $500,000 over budget because of Blake's choices. You're going to probably hear from the composer who spent, I think, over almost close to 2 years working on a score for this movie, only to be fired about 2 months before the movie. And guess who was the composer that they brought in to replace him? You got it, the one who worked on Deadpool. There's actually an interview of him out there talking about how he was like, Blake texted him and was like, I need a score for a movie. Can you do it? And he was like, yeah, I can do it, and got it ready for her in 3 weeks. And then, as you know, the rest of the soundtrack was just puffed up with all of Blake's musical friends like Taylor Swift. You're going to hear from the editors who were forced out of the editing bay, trying to edit their version, Justin's version, the director's version of the movie, for Blake to then come in, hire her own handpicked editor to edit her version of the movie. She was supposed to only have 1 week in the editing bay. She ended up having like 2 months or something crazy like that. You're going to hear from the assistant director, a woman who was forced out and fired because Blake didn't like her. The rumor is that she was loyal to Justin. She was his assistant director. And so Blake felt like she had loyalty to him. So she went to Sony. Sony then went to Wayfair and forced Wayfair, Justin and Jamie Heath, to fire this woman. And those are just the people we know about at this early stage of the lawsuit. I'm sure there are going to be a line of people who have stories to tell about how heinous it was to work on that set and all of how the budget went over, how the timing went over, and how the movie was eventually stolen because of Blake and Ryan Reynolds. And my advice to the crew, which I feel like they don't need this advice, but I'm just going to say it. If anybody asks you for a quote to talk about something, even if it's off the record, don't do it. That will not end well for you or for Justin. Save your information for the trial. I'm sure the stories they have to tell. And it may just end with them.
I found this article and it reads, this is from Rolling Stone. It ends with us crew members say Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively's creative differences were not a secret on set. Crew members who worked on the Colin Hoover adaptation and shed light on the alleged feud between Baldoni and Lively, telling Rolling Stone the actress demeanor shifted after production began. So this was as far as August 28, 2024. It goes on as speculation continues to shone about a possible feud between Ethan Vittor's co-stars Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. Three crew members who worked on the project t- tell Rolling Stone that creative differences and a behind-the-scenes power struggle between the two were apparent during filming. Over the course of the on again and off again production, which stretched from March through June 2023, in New Jersey, the crew members say they observed Lively and Baldoni's contrasting approaches to filmmaking and noted a shift in Lively's attitude while making the project. Eventually, according to all three sources who asked not to be named out of concern for their jobs, it seemed clear that she didn't want to be there. Everyone knew that they didn't like each other, says one crew member who nevertheless believes the feverish gossip around the conflict is overblown. I think some of the rumors online seem a little strong. I don't think they hate each other, but I don't think they would work together again. Their styles are way too different. Blake is very business minded and very practical. Justin is so on the other side of why he makes art that they were never going to be friends. Interesting. The adaptation of Colin Hoover's popular novel, which was directed by Baldoni and produced by his company Wayfair Studios, tells the story of Lively's Lily Bloom as she navigates in an abusive relationship with Baldoni's Ryle Kincaid. Rao's physical, emotional, and sexual violence highlights a pattern of abuse in Lily's life, which she grapples with, while she also weighs keenly an old romance with a high school sweetheart and faces an unexpected pregnancy. Since the film's opening on August 9th, the media circles surrounding the end results has taken the conversation about the movie itself. But despite, or perhaps partly due to hints of clash between the two stars, the film has been topped at the box office since its release. It has made more than $250 million globally. Are you serious? Just wow. Wow. It was impossible for fans to ignore the tension between Baldoni and Lively once the pair appeared to avoid each other at the film's premiere on August 6th in New York City. Not only did they pose separately for photos on the carpet, according to page 6, the actor even sat in different theaters at the AMC Lincoln Square Cineplex for the premiere. Once fans noticed that most of the other It Ends With Us cast crew and Hoover didn't follow Baldoni on social media, rumors of a conflict between the lead actor, director, and everyone else involved in the film, especially Lively, who is also an executive producer on the project, caught fire, only to discover that he was put in the basement. So obviously, all of this was happening. People weren't blind after all. But just imagine the hostile takeover and putting me down in the basement for in my movie. No, possible. The crew member who spoke with Rolling Stone, all of whom were hired and paid by Wayfair, said that Baldoni and Lively seemed to avoid each other on set, which one source noting they never saw them together unless it was absolutely necessary. Still all three crew members say that while the acrimony may seem intense from the outside, it also boils down to a mismatch of creative approaches and personalities. There were such conflicting ideas of how to make the movie, and since Blake was bankrolling it, Justin couldn't really put his foot down, offers one crew member. But also, he didn't really have a strong opinion. He's very good at directing actors and actresses, and he's good at acting. He's an actor's director, but as far as the direction of the entire picture goes, I don't think it was his sort of film. Representatives for Baldoni and Lively didn't respond to requests for comments. Baldoni has created a reputation for himself as an outspoken, self-described feminist, deconstructing traditional ideas of masculinity at his 2017 TED Women Conference in his 2021 book Man Enough, Undefining My Masculinity, and on his interview show, the Man Enough podcast. The plot of Eden Results falls squarely into Baldoni's purview where it comes to gender and women's issues. A woman navigating an abusive relationship with a man untimely, leaving him to protect herself and her daughter. But according to TMC sources, say that Lively told people about two instances in which Baldoni made her feel uncomfortable on set. The sources alleged that she felt he lingered longer than he should have. He lingered than when the two engaged in a kissing scene. They also claim she felt for shame when she asked his set trainer how much she weighed before lifting her in the set. A source close to the situation say Baldoni has a history of back problem and told his trainer he wanted to train to perfect himself from injury, and that became a problem because tell me, representative from Baldoni and Lively didn't respond to requests for comments on this report. So I shouldn't protect myself. I shouldn't protect my back. I shouldn't protect my body just because of your entitlement. And because I'm trying to protect myself and you as well, I fat shamed you. The level of entitlement is very agbada. So it ends with us. Cast crew members have largely remained quiet on the behind the scenes drama. Though it appears some have aligned with Lively, one source told people that the principal cast and Colin Hoover will have nothing to do with Baldoni. Then on August 20th, Brandon Sklenar, the actor who plays Lily, other love interest, at last became the first cast member to speak out. on the controversy. In a lengthy Instagram post, Glenna defended Lively, Hoover, and the other women in the film from any public backlash they were receiving, saying the women on this cast stand for hope, perseverance, and for women choosing a better life for themselves. Akoko, vilifying the women who put so much of their heart and soul into making this film without because they believe so strongly in its message seems counterproductive and detracts from what this film is about. It is in fact the opposite of the point he wrote. Sklenar also alluded to possible issues on set writing. What may or may not have happened behind the scenes does not and hopefully should not detract from what our intentions were in making this film. It's been disheartening to see the amount of negativity being projected online. Sony Pictures Entertainment Share and CEO Tony Vinciquerra came out in support of Lively 2, telling the Hollywood Reporter, Blake, Colin, and so many women put so much effort into this remarkable film. Now, so working selflessly from the start to ensure that such an important subject project matter was handled with care. Audiences loved the movie. Blake's passion and commitment to advancing the conversation about around domestic violence is commendable. We love working with Blake and we want to do 12 more movies with her. Now, so, una sure, representative for Sony Pictures and Wayfarer Studio didn't respond to Rolling Stone's request for comment. Crew members who spoke to Rolling Stone say they noticed a shift in Lively's demeanor and enthusiasm during filming. She was initially excited to begin the project, they say, bringing in scrapbooks of ideas and notes regarding the details of her character's wardrobe and set decoration. According to members of production, Lively had her own vision how she wanted Lily to dress, which conflicted with the costume department's idea. We went dark because of picket lines, and in that time the costume department was running around with their heads cut off, trying to figure out how they could change everything to make sure Blake was happy. One crew was Okay, Blake was happy. One crew says there were a lot of returns and exchange and repurchasing of an entire wardrobe. Another crew member says the production designer was put on spot when Lively asked them to change the initial plan for Lily Flowers store in the film. They say the lookbook for the original set design was almost gothic, which with rich dark violet and deep red colors. What the crew member described as a moody vibe, but when Lively came into the production, yeah, my but when Lively came into the production office, they say she said she didn't think that look aligned with Lily's character on style. The production designer did not respond to Rolling Stone's request to discuss the project. While the design ultimately didn't change much, the crew member says the incident was one example of the pressure that was felt behind the scenes over conflicting ideas. The three crew members say Lively was not the presence on set they expected. She often had scheduled conflicts, they say, which is common for actors and which is they say which is common for actors but not usually for the principal actor who also is a producer on on the project. Not long after photos of her on set leaked in the press, her passion for the project seemed to drop off pre- precipitously. All three noted it was widely discussed among the line members of production. These sources say that Lively lacked a desire to be on set. There was a lot of talk about if it was contractually obligated, she probably would have just scraped the whole thing. One crew member says Justin was a little bit inexperienced with running a big crew, and Blake was at first too domineering because she was treating us like a bigger production than it was. Then after she stopped caring, she didn't care about anything about the shoot. Normally, that wouldn't be a big of a deal. A lot of actors are like that, but she was too invested in the beginning, and then the more she and Justin interacted, the less she cared about it. So obviously, she did not care about other people. She came to change things because I mean, not be your film, not be now you the act. People don't do their job, or people are doing their job. You don't want them to do their job. You came in to disrupt it. And I mean, the entitlement is not making sense. All the while, the production was plagued by other problems outside either Lively or Baldoni's control. Union members picketed in New Jersey said production temporarily halted at one point when some cast and crew members contracted COVID in early June 2023. Smoke from the Canadian wildfires turned the sky over the New York City area orange, disrupting filming. Then at the end of the month, the writer's strike shut the production down completely. It didn't pick up until January 2024. Finally, wrapping the next month in Los Angeles, the frequent stops and start didn't help an already rocky shoot and may have dragged out the tension between its two principal stars. While the creative differences between the lead actors were apparent on set, personal aminos between Baldoni and Lively was not, according to one crew member who says the pair seemed pretty amicable. So she know instead of her to share the exact same creative mindset with them, she wanted to make things awkward for them. Does it even make sense? They may have disagreed, but they were civil about it. The source says Blake had her own opinions on how she felt things should have been done. No be your film. Justin gave his 2 cents. Blake gave her 2 cents. She certainly had a say in the scenes that trickled down onto our wardrobe and all those things, but that's pretty common. Another crew member agrees. I feel like a lot of things you were seeing online makes it sound like it was a hostile work environment, and it wasn't in any way, shape, or form. They say everybody was. It was a hostile takeover because if the both of us don't align in our creative differences, then it's difficult to work with somebody like that. We have to be honest. Everybody was very professional. Everybody was nice. They didn't yell at each other. There was no like, oh, mom and dad had to go behind the closed door and yell at each other. Nothing like that. Seriously, according to crew members, Baldoni tried to foster a warm environment, making an effort to get to know everyone on a personal level and bridge the gap that typically exists between above the line producers, directors, actors, and writers. So you see, one person was making an effort. So if the both of us are not going to align creatively, then I mean, we shouldn't even work together. We have to be honest. Then this goes on, and below the line, members of production he would bound into the production office or on set, high fiving everyone. Say describing him as a super nice guy who went out of his way to make small talk. When Baldwin was getting ready to cut his hair to play Rao, he told crew members, "Just imagine he had to go all in. Meanwhile, the other one want to change clothes to fit her. Are you Lily? Is your name not different from Lily Blooms? Just look at this. Look at this. Explain to me. Are you Lily Blooms? Where did I stop again, Seth? When Baldoni was getting ready to cut his hair to play Rao, he told crew members he was donating it to charity. Ah, God bless this man. Because someone who worked on the production also cut their hair every summer and donates it to honor of their mom who had breast cancer. Hey. Baldoni also invited crew members to attend the screening of Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves of the Newport Center Mall in New Jersey in March 2020 because he wanted to celebrate their film's director of photography, Barry Peterson, who also worked on the D&D. Baldoni attended and paid for the intimate gathering. Hi. Justin Baldoni is very much about namaste, peace, love, and is a happy guy. And crew member says he has much more personable and available than pretty much any other director. Where did I stop again? And certainly any other lead actor that I've worked with. Baldoni's kindness didn't take away from the fact that some crew members thought he was a green director with only 5 feet apart. A 2019 romance starring Halilu Richardson and Cole Sprouse. The 2020 Disney film Clouds under his belt as a director, and some crew members thought Baldoni was out of his depth on Intense with Us, which was a more significant project than either of other films. There are two types of directors. There's the one that want to control over every little thing. They choose every color, choose every costume, all that. And then there are the directors that hire people they trust and they spend all their time in rehearsal and in front of the camera dealing with actors. Justin was very much the latter. One crew member explained, saying Baldoni didn't have notes on anything. Just wow. Just wow. He's just that kind. Baldoni's kindness didn't take away from. Okay, no. He just hired people that he trusted, but Blake really wanted to have her fingers in every little thing, which is fine. She's the executive producer. No one was upset by that. But I think she was kind of taken aback by how some of is fair Justin was. A report in the Hollywood Reporter seems to back up this impression. Sources told the outlet that Lively commissioned a second cut of Eden Returns from editor Shane Reed, who was also an editor on her husband Ryan Reynolds' latest movie Deadpool and Wolverine. Two crew members who worked on the set of 5 Feet Apart tell Rolling Stone they enjoyed working with Baldoni and would happily do so again. Thank you. All indications are the stars of Hidden Returns don't feel the same, and the feeling may be mutual. At the movie's premiere, Entertainment Tonight asked Baldoni if he was willing to direct and star in a sequel based on Hoover's follow-up book, A Star Returns. Baldoni immediately suggested the perfect candidate to take over the directing job. I think there are better people for the one, he said. I think Blake is ready to direct. When he asked about working directly with Lively, one crew member who has more than 20 years of experience working in the film says it was fine. We'll leave it at that. It was a fine shoot. Every production I've worked on has its cast of characters, and you know it is what it is. It's all good. From the perspective of the crew members who spoke with Rolling Stone, the clash between Baldoni and Lively took on a whole new life after the premiere. Fan speculations or and press coverage blew everything out of proportion. They say and caused the situation to spiral beyond what they witnessed on set. The gossip has only served to distract from what the film is really about: domestic violence. The marketing campaign around Eden results has also been criticized for making the light of the sensitive topic. In the weeks since, Lively posted on her Instagram story about the role of domestic violence in the film, also sharing the link to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and Baldoni's Welfare Studio announced a partnership with the No More Foundation, a non-profit that provides domestic and sexual violence survivors with resources and access to help. According to those who worked with Baldoni behind the scene, he consistently drove home the film's message during filming and emphasized the importance of it. I understood that he had a lot of weight on his shoulder that he was carrying. One crew member says he was always reminding us that aside from the fact that we were trying to make the best possible product, we have the obligation to do the victims of domestic violence justice by telling their story in a way that was respectful and accurate by shining a light on it. He was always reminding us that this movie has the potential to change lives. Thank you, sir. The film's box office success suggests his message has gotten through amid all the off-screen drama, and it is and his perfect performance is a referendum on the working relationship of his two stars. It seems ironically like the public is clamoring for more, even if we're no closer to knowing what really went down between them. To the crew members who spoke with Rolling Stone, who spent 4 months observing and working with Baldoni and Lively, is merely a creative clash spun out of control in the public imagination. Yet the ongoing fan shatter, the anonymous source leaking rumors and accusations to the press, and the continued conspicuous silence from the major players involved hint at something messier. It Beatles would hardly be the first film where the lead actors didn't like each other much or socialize at the premiere. So why has this supposed feud captured so much attention? Is it about the sheer wattage of lively star power, the seemingly too good to be true nice guy persona displayed by Baldoni? Is a rabid Hoover fandom amplifying passive aggressive slights that might have otherwise slipped by unnoticed. It concerns us. It is very, very important to us because this is a very, very important message. So if the two of them are fighting or have issues, we need to know. It's simple. Whatever the root cause issue may be, the future of the franchise now hangs in the balance, according to the source, with the knowledge of the situation. Warfare Studio owns the right to It Stars With Us, which was also another bestseller of Hoover. Sony, which distributed Hits Ends With Us, would also be the studio distributing the sequel, according to the Hollywood Reporter. Yet, even though It Ends With Us has been a massive hit, a Hollywood source tells Rolling Stone that there haven't been any discussion regarding a potential sequel. Whether Baldoni and Lively's story ends here remains to be seen. Yeah, so it looks like this is where the story will end because obviously the both of us are clashing. We don't have the exact same creative um vision for this movie. You came in, you disrupted the plan, disrupted everything, wanted it to be your own way, will not be your movie. Go and produce your own movie and do it the way you like. You came to my movie and I want to do it the way I like. Even if you want to, you don't 100% agree, you can tweak it or just make some reasonable changes, not to make it look like you. But let me know what your thoughts are regarding this.